Hey guys, today I want to go through my top 10 premium USA made folding knives. These are going to be small batch. You're not going to see any real customs here because I'm not yet into customs, but these are going to be my pick for top 10 kind of because they come from my collection. Knives, they're going to be, say, that $300 and up range, which I consider premium USA made, USA produced knives. Before I get started, I just want to say thank you to all the channel members. Welcome anyone, whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or the evening. I'm glad you're here, and welcome and thank you for anyone from watching the content. So the first knife that we're going to talk about on what I consider to be my ultra premium list of USA made knives is this TRM Bulldog. We saw this on my sub 300 range because this one, instead of being plain G10, this one is contoured titanium. Same MagnaCut blade, same thickest blade stock that TRM offers in a folder, but now you've got contoured titanium handles. And this guy's going to tip the scales right around $385 in this configuration. I do not think they're in stock now in the titanium, but they will be very, very soon. This knife is about the same size as the TRM Neutron, and I really like it because it's just a little bit thicker. Comes in right at 7 inches long with a 3-inch blade and roughly a 4-inch handle. Deep carry titanium pocket clip, TRM's river lock, which is their form of the bar lock, and then you've got a hole for deployment, natural choil, very, very ergonomic contoured handles, and just a real winner. For ultra premium USA made knife, great place to start is TRM with the TRM Bulldog. Moving on, we come to a knife that Brother Scotch and Things helped me acquire, and it's one that came later in my collecting because I used to not be a fan of this knife until I experienced a very similar knife made by another maker that will remain nameless. But this is the Strider Crosshatch SnG. It's kind of a basic Strider knife in that it's got G10 on your handle, kind of a mono body with a G10 wrapped around back spacer. Then you've got this flamed titanium lock side with a frame lock and PD1 tool steel for the blade. Very nicely made, aggressive, tactical, but very slicey. USA made, small batch, premium knife. The Strider's one that I became a fan of, again, by looking at a different knife. Then I bought a couple of different Protex Striders of different sizes and wanted to actually own one of these because I really like the way it feels in my hand. I kind of like the history of Strider. Very slicey, very pokey. It's not too heavy for the size that it is, and it is a full-size knife. For me, at least, it is. They also make an SMF if this is too small for you. This is the SNG, and it's 8 1/4 inches overall, 3.5 inch blade, roughly 4.5 inch handle. Got really nice choil, nice sharpening choil, done very well. And this knife tipped the scale right around $550, $600 is what I paid for it. I can't exactly remember, but I want to say it was right around $600. Moving on, and I'm kind of going up in graduated pricing. This is my Spartan Harsey SHF Spartan Harsey folder. It is my Plague Doctor version. I've also got a 3 1/4 inch version of this knife. This is the full size in MagnaCut. And when I was picking my top 10, I do carry this one. This is probably one of the largest knives I carry on the daily. More than my 3 1/4 inch, even though the 3 1/4 inch is plenty big for my EDC tasks. The Spartan Harsey is, again, more of a tactical knife. You've got a thicker blade geometry here. This one is MagnaCut with the titanium flat handle made by Spartan with the Plague Doctor motif, if you will. It's got it on the back as well. Spartan Harsey titanium clip. Very nice handles. This knife is ergonomic, but yet it's rugged. You've got this really aggressive jimping, not only cut into the blade, but cut into the frame there. Feels great in the hand. You've got it on the underside as well as finger swells there that work very well, because again, this is a full-size knife. So this guy's going to come in right around almost 9 inches, a little over 8 3/4 inches. The blade on it's going to be 4 inches. The handle's going to be 4 3/4. It is a monster. It came in right around, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, about $575, $600 on washers. Really good value for a very meaty knife. Not the sliciest knife in the group. Still very sharp, but it's definitely one of the pierciest, go through anything you want it to type knives. Very, very able for hard use, for prying, for jamming, for plunging, and for cutting, right? It's just not going to be the sliciest out of the bunch. Spartan Harsey, one of my favorite premium USA made knives. I love this knife. It is a banger. Brings us to my next and my favorite top 10 premium USA made knives. This is made in the same state that I reside in. This is a McNees Mac 2 3.5 inch knife. It's a frame lock, titanium frame lock with a beautifully tumbled acid etched looking MagnaCut hollow grind blade, done by hand, made one at a time. It's very small batch, very slicey, therapeutically slicey, a great EDC size. As far as I'm concerned, it fits my hand just perfectly. They make a smaller McNees, which would probably be great, but this one for me is just fine. This knife is going to tip the length scales right over 7.5 inches. I'm going to have about a 3.5 inch blade and right around a 4 inch handle. But very ergonomical. I think this is called the shock pattern. I'm not exactly sure. You can get it in several different patterns. Thumb studs that just let the blade fly out. The detent is done very well. It comes on bearings, frame lock knife from the state of Alabama, and it is the McNees Mac 2, and I think these are right around $595, $595 to $600 too. But it is the type knife that if taken care of, it will last a lifetime, and they are great knives. So moving on, we come to one of the smaller knives in the collection, and this is a Hinderer 3-inch XM-18. I've got I've got like 5 or 6 different Hinderers, but I wanted to kind of break up and show some of the ones that I really like, to carry. And from a gentleman size carry, this is a great knife. This is the 3-inch XM-18 Wharncliffe. You've got a flat ground Wharncliffe blade with a very pokey, stabby tip. This is in battle blue, 20 CV on this particular blade. I've got a Hinderer, a little half track in MagnaCut. I've got trying to think what it's called, Eclipse in S45. Got an XM-18 in 20 CV, but I really wanted to kind of feature this one because this is one that I carry quite a bit. This knife would normally be $425 if you bought it from Hinderer or from one of the retailers, where you had one side that would have a steel frame and a G10 show side, and then you've got the titanium lock side, just like on most knives that are kind of sold like this. This has got the tri-way pivot system, so it'll operate both on bearings like it is right now. It'll operate on phosphorus bronze washers. It'll also operate on Teflon washers, all of which ship with the knife. That's why they call it the tri-way. That's designated by that little sign right there on the flipper. But it does have a great flipper tab and thumb studs. I added a titanium show side scale, smooth to match the lock side, which actually adds it up to about a $625 knife, but you get the same functionality out of a $425 Hinderer XM-18 if you're looking for a smaller EDC. They do make this in all blade styles. I prefer the Wharncliffe just because it's pokey. Works very well for EDC. I'm just a huge fan. The next Hinderer that's going to come up, because I'm doing these by prices, the one that I really love to carry, this is a Hinderer Jurassic. Again, this is a knife that would normally, some of these might be in stock. I'll leave a link if I can find them, if they are, in hollow ground. But they're going to come with a G10 show side, G10 scale, with a titanium lock side. This would be the Stonewash blue, which is a little brighter than the battle blue. I did add the matching tie textured scale. This knife would sell from Hinderer for, I think, right around $495 with the G10. You add the titanium, that's roughly $200, so that's going to put you at about $695. But this is the middle size, kind of splitting the difference between the 3-inch XM-18 and the full-size XM-18. This is a really nice shaped knife and nice size knife for me. It's got the full thickness and girth of a Hinderer. It's going to come in right over 7.5 inches. Has right under 3¼ inch blade and right under 4.5 inch handle. So it's not tiny chody, but it is a, smaller size knife. It's got this nice sway in the back that fits in the palm of my hand very, very well. It's 20 CV. This is just your regular drop point design. This one does not have a hollow grind. The ones that are in stock now, or that were in stock, do have the hollow grinds, and I think they're right around $495. But Hinderers, love them, hate them. I used to not have any desire to own a Hinderer. Like I say, now I own several because I really think it's just a very well-made USA knife, and my buying styles have changed. It also has this Hinderer integral backspacer, which is kind of a unique little system, which allows you to take this backspacer out, use it as a tool, put different backspacers in that have different tools. Just a different, interesting little, looks like a floating backspacer if you don't take it off or don't adjust it. But this is the Hinderer Jurassic. Fantastic knife. I really like it. I like it more than my Eclipse, like it more than my XM-18, and it kind of splits that size difference. So moving on, we come to another smaller knife. And this is a very well-made, well-machined USA knife. This is the Koenig Mini Arius with the flipper tab. I was lucky enough to pick this up from Lord Needham. He had it for sale. He actually had a couple. And I think I picked this up for right around $750. It's M390. It's contoured titanium that's milled very nicely. You've got this backspacer, this floating backspacer with the lanyard hole, blue titanium hardware, drop shut action, really nice hollow ground drop point blade that is as slicey as you want. Titanium clip. You can see the model or the batch number, the serial number right through there. When the knife's closed, of course you can't, but that's kind of a nice little touch. Again, some of the finest USA made knives, in my opinion, are the Koenig knives. Again, there are others that are right up there with them, but these are machined impeccably. The blades are, I think, just very sexy. I love the grinds on them. That's kind of got a stonewash finish with a belt satin flat. And then you just got a really nice basic contoured scale thumb hole if you want it, or really nice flipper tab. They make this in a flipperless version as well. Again, right around $750, I think. They also make a full size, but this is the Mini Arius. Definitely one of my favorites when we're talking about premium USA made knives. So next, we're getting close to the end here, is Alex Steingraber's Lamia, the SPK Lamia. This is a handmade knife. This also utilizes some CNC machinery. This is a Friday the 13th drop that was in a distressed black. You've got this etched, I don't know if you can see the milling in the lock side there, but it's a frame lock knife in crew wear that's just, to me, ergonomically perfect. I think this knife is one of my favorite all-time folders. I was introduced to this knife by Ethan Ruins at Blade Show several years ago when they were still on washers. I'd never been a big fan in SPK. For some reason, the knife didn't speak to me. But after spending a little time with it, after holding it, I knew it was on my list. I saw this on Blade Binge, was able to acquire it shortly after it dropped, and have loved it ever since. It's a smaller knife, medium-sized knife. I'm going to say it's going to come in right at 7.5 inches with 3¼ inch blade roughly, 4¼ inch handle. Very, very nice. Crew wear, titanium, handmade in America. You can see the SPK right there, the CW for crew wear right there. When the knife's open, all of your markings disappear behind the handle. Steel lock bar. Very well engineered, very well made. I love these little knives. And this is the SPK Lamia. I think I picked this up for right around 800 bucks. Next up was my second Medford and my favorite Medford. This is a DLT exclusive, Medford Slim Midi drop point. Titanium handle with the falling leaves pattern, which is this etching that's etched into the titanium. And then DLC or DLT has all their exclusives. They also offer them S45, but this is an S90V Medford Slim Midi. That's a DLT exclusive. The S35, or excuse me, the S90V. This knife is thin. This knife is basic. This knife is handmade, so much so that when I take it apart, you've got a number inside this scale that matches a number inside this scale that matches this number right here. Done exceptionally well. Very much an overbuilt knife. Even the Slim Midi, which is their thinnest knife. I've got a couple of other Medfords that are a good bit thicker, but the Midi is the one that I'm going to carry the most because, again, it is a smaller, thinner footprint of a knife. It is full-sized by my standards, has fantastic ergonomics. It's going to come in right under 8 inches, over 7¾ The blade is going to be right over 3.5. The handle is going to be right under 4.5, right over 4¼ But you've got this nice forward finger choil. The blade, the handle fits great. Cooper got me. I haven't been accidentally cutting myself up on my forewrist. But that is the Medford Slim Midi and S90V. It is one of my favorites. Also one of my more expensive knives. I think this came in around $700, $710. Which brings me to the final USA made premium knife. This is, I guess you'd call a jeweled knife, a frou-frou knife. This is a Michael Zeba S5. With an M390 blade that was partnered out with Jason Knight of Knight Blade Works, who crafted this really sick tactical blade. You've got this hand-etched pattern, this Odin, which was some Greek god. You've got Till Valhalla here. You got a lot of symbolism on the back. You've got some ruins up here around the pivot. You've got a back spacer that are these hand jeweled skulls that run where your back spacer would. And then on the inside, it's got more ruins on the back side of that back spacer. I think you can see those there. Let me shine a little light down there. Yeah, you can see them down in there. So it's got ruins on the inside of the back spacer. These are out of Brooklyn, New York. They drop like an absolute beast. It's, I think in 2020 or 2021, the S5, not the prettied up one, it's got a slight recurve, was tactical knife of the show. It's very much a hard use, piercing type of knife with a harpoon blade, slight recurve, very aggressive. Wonderful access to that lock bar, and just a very, very functional yet special knife, because I picked this up from a friend. I was with him when he bought it, and when he got rid of it, he decided to share it with me. This guy was right around $950, right under $950. We got it at a show, so it was a couple hundred less than that. But guys, these are my top 10 premium USA small batch, because I'd have, again, I don't get into full custom. You can find much, much more premium knives in full custom. I think these are kind of my jam in terms of when you're looking at, for me, the cream of the crop. What I like to carry when I'm either going to get stuff done, I use all my knives. So just because these are a little bit more premium, it's only because they're handmade or they're made in small batches. It's not because they won't stand up to hard use. They're all made to be used. And I use all my knives, so none of these are safe queens per se. They all get time cutting, and I enjoy cutting them, carrying them. And guys, I enjoy sharing them with y'all. So those are my top 10. Let me know in the comments what you guys like, what y'all think of is your premium, higher-end USA-made knives. If you're so inclined, you'll see a video pop up right over here. We'd love for you to watch that video, spend some time around the channel. I hope to see you guys back. Most importantly, please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Hit the like button. Peace.